Listen to me, life doesn't send invitations. It doesn't knock on your door and wait for you to fix your tie before it walks in. Opportunities show up unannounced. Storms show up unannounced. Success and failure both show up unannounced. The question is not, will it come? The question is, will you be ready when it comes? Most people lose, not because they're weak, not because they're slow, but because they were still trying to get ready when the moment was already here. And life doesn't wait. Life moves. And if you're not ready, you get left behind. You've got to stop living in a mindset of reaction. You can't keep telling yourself when it happens, I'll prepare. No, by the time it happens, it's too late. You've got to flip the psychology. You've got to live prepared. Every single day you wake up, you stay ready, because the moment you slack, the moment you snooze, the moment you think you have time, that's when the opportunity of your life passes you by. You ever notice how storms don't announce themselves? You don't get a polite message from the sky saying, next week, Tuesday at 3 p.m., I'll bring thunder and lightning. So go ahead and get your umbrella ready. No, storms just show up. And when they come, you either got what you need or you don't. Life works the exact same way. Storms of disappointment, storms of financial struggles, storms of broken relationships, storms of opportunity that only knock once. And here's the thing, you don't rise to the occasion, you fall to the level of your preparation. Preparation is your protection. I've lived this. I didn't grow up with money. I didn't grow up with every advantage. There were days I wasn't sure where I was going to sleep, what I was going to eat. But what I did have was the awareness that if I stayed ready, I wouldn't have to get ready. If I read every book I could, if I sharpened my mind, if I worked on my craft when nobody was clapping, then one day when the moment came, I wouldn't need to run back and study. I wouldn't need to run back and practice. I'd already be prepared. It's one of the wisest men to ever live. Seneca said, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. Too many people waiting on luck, too many people hoping the right door opens, but when that door finally cracks open, they aren't ready to walk through it. That's why they miss it. I'm telling you right now, opportunities don't wait for you to run back and grab your shoes. If you're barefoot when the race starts, that's on you. Think about a boxer. He doesn't prepare on fight night. He doesn't say, well, let me start training now that the opponent is in the ring. That'd be foolish. He prepares months in advance, every day, every hour, hitting that bag, running those miles, eating right, training his mind. So when the lights come on, when the bell rings, he's not shocked. He's not nervous. He's ready because his preparation is his protection. The punches are coming whether you're ready or not, but preparation makes the difference between victory and defeat. I remember when I was in school, professors would give us a syllabus at the start of the semester. Some of my classmates would toss it aside thinking, I'll worry about the exams when they get here. But me, I treated that syllabus like a map. I studied it, I planned, I made sure when the test came, I wasn't cramming at 3 a.m. the night before. And that's how life is. It hands you clues, it gives you windows, it tells you storms are coming. The prepared ones see it. The unprepared act surprised every single time. And hear me, preparation is not just about books or skills. It's about your spirit. You can't just prepare your hands. You got to prepare your heart. You can't just prepare your resume. You got to prepare your character. Because sometimes life doesn't test what you know. It tests who you are. And if you're not prepared in your integrity, in your discipline, in your mindset, then all the talent in the world won't protect you. Marcus Aurelius once said, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. That means life will throw obstacles at you, not to destroy you, but to test whether you've been preparing for that exact obstacle. And if you've been sleeping, if you've been waiting, if you've been lazy, that wall is going to crush you. But if you've been training, if you've been staying sharp, that wall becomes the very step you needed to climb higher. So stop telling yourself you'll get ready when the time comes. By then it's too late. The world doesn't give warnings. It rewards the ones who are prepared before the moment arrives. Preparation is not just something you do when it's convenient. It's who you become daily. Because when you live ready, you never have to get ready. Excitement is easy. You get excited when you hear a new opportunity. You get excited when you watch a movie. You get excited when someone tells you your dream is possible. But excitement fades. Excitement disappears when the alarm clock rings at 4 a.m. Excitement vanishes when the pain shows up, when the road gets long, when nobody's clapping for you anymore. Excitement might get you started, but only discipline will keep you going. Discipline is what separates those who wish from those who win. I've seen it 1,000 times. Somebody starts out fired up, talking big about how they're going to be successful, how they're going to grind, how they're going to dominate. And for a week, oh, they're on fire. They're in the gym, they're reading, they're hustling. But the moment the feeling wears off, they stop. They quit because they were addicted to excitement, not committed to discipline. Let me tell you about discipline. Discipline is when you don't feel like it, but you do it anyway. Discipline is when you don't see results yet, but you keep planting seeds. Discipline is when your body says rest, but your vision says work. It's like the old proverb says, he who sweats more in training bleeds less in battle. The training doesn't always feel good. It's not always exciting. But when the moment comes, when the battle shows up, the one who trained with discipline is always ready. When I was younger, there were times I didn't want to get up. I didn't want to study. I didn't want to put in the hours. But I knew if I only moved when I felt like moving, I'd never get anywhere. If I only worked when I was excited, I'd still be where I started. I had to develop discipline. Discipline became my fuel. And once discipline takes over, you don't need motivation every morning. You don't need hype. You don't need a crowd cheering you on. You've got something stronger. You've got habits. You've got consistency. Look at the farmer. He doesn't just plant seeds when he's excited about the weather. He plants because it's the season to plant. He waters. Even when the sun is too hot, he removes weeds, even when he's tired. And when harvest time comes, he doesn't say, wow, I got lucky. No, he says, this is the fruit of my discipline. That's life. Excitement doesn't grow crops. Discipline does. Aristotle said it best. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. That's discipline. Excellence isn't something you turn on when you feel inspired. Excellence is how you live every single day. If you want to be ready, you have to make discipline your lifestyle, because life will not give you time to get ready when it counts. You either built the habits already or you didn't. Here's the truth. Discipline frees you. People think discipline is a prison. They think discipline means restriction. But I'm telling you, discipline is freedom. Discipline frees you from panic because you know you prepared. Discipline frees you from fear because you've already put in the reps. Discipline frees you from regret because when the moment comes, you're not scrambling, you're not unprepared, you're ready. Excitement fades, but discipline builds. Excitement is the spark, but discipline is the fire that never goes out. And if you want to stay ready so you don't have to get ready, you better stop chasing excitement and start living discipline. Let me be real with you. Confidence doesn't come from standing in the mirror telling yourself you're great. It doesn't come from people hyping you up or giving you compliments. That kind of confidence fades the moment the pressure hits. True confidence, the type that allows you to walk into any room, face any challenge, and look opportunity dead in the eye, that confidence comes from consistency. Confidence is born in the daily grind. Confidence comes when you know you've been faithful when nobody was watching. I didn't get confident on the stage because I shouted louder than everybody else. I got confident because I was practicing when the room was empty. I got confident because I spent night after night working on my craft when nobody was calling my name. So when the moment came, when the opportunity finally arrived, I wasn't nervous. I was ready because I had receipts. My consistency gave me confidence. See, most people are trying to borrow confidence. They want it quick. They want to feel good before they do the work, but it doesn't work that way. Consistency is the proof your brain needs to trust you. When you've done something day after day, your mind says, we've been here before. We can do this. That's why the soldier trains with the same drills over and over again. That's why the athlete runs the same plays thousands of times. It's not exciting. It's not glamorous, but it builds an unshakable confidence. As the great Chinese philosopher Confucius once said, it does not matter how slowly you go as long as you do not stop. Consistency isn't about speed. It's about never quitting. Every small act adds up. Every brick you lay builds a foundation. And when you've been consistent, you walk into battle with a different posture because you know you've already put in the work. I'll never forget when I was in school and there were guys who would show up to class once in a while, cram before exams and hope to pass. And they were always shaking, always nervous, hoping they'd guess right. But the students who came every day, who read every page, who took notes consistently, they weren't worried on test day. They walked in calm, confident, ready. Why? Because their consistency had already done the heavy lifting. And that's the psychology of it. Your brain needs evidence. It needs to see that you can do what you say you can do. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, your confidence grows. Every time you quit, every time you stop, every time you break that promise, you're training your brain not to believe you. That's why some of you feel powerless when opportunity comes. You've been inconsistent and deep down you know it. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." In other words, stop talking about what you're capable of and just do it every single day. Do it when you feel like it. Do it when you don't. Do it until it becomes who you are. That's how confidence is built. I'm telling you, confidence is not a speech. It's a lifestyle. Confidence is not a shout. It's a track record. If you want to walk into every opportunity ready, if you want to silence doubt before it even speaks, then you need consistency. Because when you've been faithful in the dark, you'll be fearless in the light. And that kind of confidence will never leave you unprepared. Pressure. Everybody talks about it. I'm under pressure. I can't handle the pressure. The pressure's too much. Let me tell you something. The only people who are crushed by pressure are the ones who weren't prepared. Pressure exposes. Pressure doesn't lie. Pressure reveals whether you've been putting in the work when nobody was watching, or whether you've been procrastinating and praying for a miracle. If you're ready, pressure doesn't break you. It builds you. Pressure is the antidote to pressure. Think about it. If you study all semester, when test day comes, you're calm. You sit down, you breathe, and you start writing because you've seen those questions before in your study sessions. But if you didn't prepare, you're sweating, your heart is racing, your mind is blank, and you call it pressure. It's not pressure. It's your lack of preparation exposing you. I've lived this. I've been on stages in front of thousands, lights in my face, cameras rolling, everybody waiting on me to deliver. Do you think I panicked? Do you think I froze? No. Why? Because I had already put in the work in an empty room. I had already rehearsed when nobody was clapping. I didn't need to get ready. I was already ready. That's why the pressure didn't feel like a burden. It felt like an opportunity. There's a quote from the great military strategist Sun Tzu: "Victorious warriors win first and then go to war, while defeated warriors go to war first and then seek to win." You hear that? Winners win before the fight even starts. They prepare so thoroughly, so relentlessly, that when the battle comes, it's just the execution of what they already knew they could do. That's how you eliminate pressure. You win before the fight begins. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine you're asked to give a speech tomorrow. If you haven't prepared, you're terrified. You're pacing. Your voice is shaky. Your mind is all over the place. But if you've been working on your communication every day, if you've been speaking, practicing, studying, then when tomorrow comes, you don't even flinch. You step up to the mic and deliver, not because the pressure disappeared, but because preparation made you bulletproof. And that's how life works. You're not going to get a text message warning you of the challenge that's coming. You won't get an email telling you what day the opportunity of your lifetime will show up. It could be today, it could be tomorrow, and if you're not ready, the weight of that moment will crush you. But if you've prepared, if you've stayed disciplined, that same moment that breaks somebody else will launch you. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Circumstances don't make the man, they only reveal him to himself." That's what pressure does. It reveals, and what it reveals is whether you respected the grind, whether you stayed consistent, whether you treated preparation like life or death. So stop running from pressure. Stop saying, "I don't want pressure in my life." You can't avoid it. The job interview will come. The promotion opportunity will come. The challenge will come. The question is, will you crumble or will you conquer? And the answer depends on what you've been doing in the dark. Preparation is what transforms pressure from fear into fuel. When you've done the work, the lights don't scare you, they ignite you. The stage doesn't crush you. It crowns you, because in that moment, you don't need to get ready. You already stayed ready. Let me tell you why. Most people lose. They don't lose because they're not talented. They don't lose because they don't have potential. They lose because their standards are too low. You can't stay ready with low standards. You can't live sharp when you're okay with average. If you want to walk into every opportunity ready, if you want to be unshakable when life shows up unannounced, you've got to raise the bar and refuse to lower it for comfort. See, some of you only grind when people are watching. You only give 100% when there's a scoreboard, when there's a camera, when there's applause. But the real measure of readiness is what you demand from yourself when nobody's around. Do you still show up early? Do you still execute with excellence? Or do you cut corners and call it good enough? Because good enough is the enemy of greatness. I remember when I was cleaning buildings, pushing that broom. Nobody was watching me. Nobody was clapping. Nobody was saying great job. But I treated that broom like a microphone. I treated that job like it was a stage. Why? Because my standards weren't based on the job title. My standards were based on who I was becoming. And that's the mindset you've got to carry. Don't let your environment dictate your standards. Let your standards dictate your environment. Plato said, the first and greatest victory is to conquer yourself. You've got to conquer that lazy version of you that says it's good enough. You've got to conquer that voice that says nobody will notice, because guess what? You'll notice. And every time you lower your standards, you teach yourself to be unprepared. Every time you accept less from yourself, you lose readiness for the moment that's coming. Let me give you a practical example. Imagine two athletes. One practices hard when the coach is around, but slacks when the coach isn't watching. The other practices hard every single day, whether anyone is checking or not. When game day comes, who's truly ready? The one whose standards never dropped. Because when the lights come on, you don't rise to the occasion. You fall to your standards. And if your standards have been sloppy, you'll get exposed. That's why I tell people, stop negotiating with your greatness. Stop saying, I'll work hard tomorrow or this one time. It won't matter. No, it matters. Every little thing matters. High standards in the small things prepare you for the big things. If you cut corners in practice, you'll cut corners in the game. If you cut corners in your finances, you'll cut corners in your business. Excellence isn't situational. Excellence is a standard. Marcus Aurelius once said, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one. Stop talking about what excellence looks like. Stop talking about what greatness is supposed to be. Be it every single day, even when you don't feel like it, even when no one's watching, even when you think it doesn't matter, because it does. I promise you, the people who walk into opportunities ready are the ones who live by standards that others thought were too high. They weren't trying to meet expectations. They were trying to exceed them. They weren't trying to just pass. They were trying to dominate. And when life came knocking, they didn't need to get ready because they had been living ready. So don't ask yourself, am I doing enough? Ask yourself, am I holding myself to the highest? Life doesn't hit pause. The clock doesn't stop because you're tired. The opportunity doesn't slow down because you weren't ready. The game doesn't wait for you. It moves with or without you. And if you're not ready when it's your turn, it doesn't matter how talented you are, you're going to get left behind. I've watched too many people lose because they thought they had time. They thought life would give them another chance. They thought opportunities were patient. But opportunities are like trains. If you're not at the station when it pulls up, it's gone. And you can stand there crying. You can complain about how unfair it is. You can make excuses. But the truth is that train is moving. The question is, were you ready when it came? When I was young, there were doors that opened for me that I couldn't even believe. People called me. People invited me. People gave me chances that could have changed my life forever. But if I wasn't prepared, if I hadn't been sharpening my gift every day, I would have blown those moments. And here's the reality. Life doesn't care about your excuses. Life doesn't reschedule the moment just because you weren't prepared. The moment came, and if you missed it, that's on you. Heraclitus, the Greek philosopher, said it plain. The only constant in life is change. You hear that? The world keeps moving. The game keeps evolving. While you're procrastinating, the competition is training. While you're sleeping, somebody else is grinding. While you're trying to get ready, somebody who stayed ready is already on the field taking your spot. Think about sports. The championship doesn't get delayed because one player is injured. The season doesn't pause because someone wasn't ready. The team still plays. The game still goes on. And that's exactly how life is. It doesn't slow down for your feelings. It doesn't stop for your procrastination. It doesn't bend for your excuses. The whistle blows whether you're ready or not. I remember failing classes when I was younger, and I thought, I'll fix it next semester. But the game didn't wait. That semester ended. My grades were locked. The consequences were real. I couldn't beg the teacher to turn back the clock. I had to own it. And that's when I realized the game doesn't care if you're ready. You either prepare beforehand or you face the reality that the game moved on without you. And here's the thing. This truth can either destroy you or can fuel you. If you let it scare you, you'll keep running from the game. But if you let it light a fire, you'll realize you don't have time to waste. You'll wake up every day knowing the game is in motion. And if you want to stay in it, you've got to stay ready. As Marcus Aurelius once said, the time is now. Stop drifting. You are not going to live forever. That's a reality check. Stop waiting for the perfect time. Stop waiting until you feel ready. Stop waiting until the stars align. The game is being played today. Right now, somebody is out there running your race, fighting for your spot, chasing your dream. So understand this. The game doesn't wait for you, and it doesn't have to. You've got to match its pace. You've got to stay ready. You've got to live ready because the whistle's already blown, the clock is already ticking, and life is already moving. And if you're still sitting on the sidelines trying to get ready, then you've already lost. Excellence isn't something you put on like a suit when it's interview day. Excellence isn't a performance you do when people are watching. Excellence has to become who you are. It has to be your lifestyle. If you want to stay ready so you don't have to get ready, you can't afford to live sloppy Monday through Friday and then suddenly flip a switch on Saturday. No, excellence has to be every single day in the way you think, the way you work, the way you carry yourself. I learned early that you don't get to choose when the spotlight hits you. Sometimes opportunities come when you least expect them. And if you haven't made excellence your lifestyle, you're going to get exposed. I remember being called to speak when I wasn't even on the schedule. They said, can you do it right now? I didn't panic. I didn't hesitate because excellence wasn't an act for me. It was how I lived. I was already prepared. And that's what I'm telling you. When excellence becomes your lifestyle, you never get caught off guard. Socrates once said, excellence is not a gift, but a skill that takes practice. And the practice never ends. Excellence is what you do in the dark. It's how you treat the smallest tasks. It's how you speak when nobody important is listening. Excellence is how you write that email, how you clean that floor, how you treat people who can't do anything for you. Because how you do anything is how you'll do everything. If you cut corners in the small things, you'll cut corners when the big opportunity comes and you won't be ready. Look at a craftsman. He doesn't just put in effort when he's building something for the king. He gives the same care when he's building for a neighbor down the street. Why? Because his identity is tied to his work. His excellence isn't about the paycheck. It's about his name, his legacy, his standard. And that's what you got to understand. When excellence is your lifestyle, it becomes your brand. People recognize it. Opportunities recognize it. I remember when I was working jobs nobody else wanted, jobs that paid minimum wage. But I didn't let the size of the paycheck determine the size of my effort. I gave maximum effort at minimum wage because I wasn't working for the money. I was working on me. I was developing habits of excellence that money couldn't buy. And years later, those same habits put me in rooms I never dreamed I'd be in. Aristotle said, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. That means if you want to be excellent, you don't try to be excellent when it matters. You live it every single day until it becomes automatic, until it becomes who you are. And here's the beauty of it. When excellence is your lifestyle, you don't even need to chase opportunities. Opportunities chase you. People see how you carry yourself. They see the way you work. They see the consistency. And they say, that's the one. That's the person we can trust. That's the one who's ready. Excellence draws favor. Excellence commands respect. So stop waiting for the big stage to give your best. Stop waiting for the important moment to show up with excellence. Show up every day with excellence in every moment, in every detail, Because when you live excellence as a lifestyle, you'll never have to scramble. You'll never have to fake it. You'll never have to pretend. You'll already be ready because excellence will be who you are. Hunger. That's what separates the ones who stay ready from the ones who always have to get ready. Hunger doesn't let you rest too long. Hunger doesn't let you get comfortable. Hunger doesn't care that you had a win yesterday. It pushes you to earn another one today. And the grind is the proof of that hunger. It's the daily action that says, I'm not satisfied yet. I've got more in me. I refuse to settle. I've seen it too many times. People hit one goal and suddenly they relax. They get a little money, a little recognition, a little progress, and they stop grinding like they did when they were broke, when they were desperate. And that's why they lose. Because the moment you think you've arrived, the moment you take your foot off the gas, life passes you. Somebody hungrier than you, somebody willing to outwork you, somebody willing to sacrifice more than you is already catching up. I remember sleeping in abandoned buildings, eating out of trash cans. I was hungry, not just physically, but mentally, spiritually. I had to get out of that situation. That hunger drove me. That hunger made me grind when there was no applause, no paycheck, no guarantee. And to this day, I keep that same hunger because I know the moment I start thinking I've made it, I stop growing. As the old proverb says, a hungry man will climb any mountain. That's the power of hunger. It gives you strength that comfort will never give you. Comfort makes you lazy. Hunger makes you creative. Hunger makes you relentless. Hunger keeps you awake at night, working on your dream. And it wakes you up early in the morning before everyone else. Look at nature. A lion doesn't stop hunting just because it ate yesterday. It stays sharp because it knows tomorrow it'll have to hunt again. That's why the lion is king. It never forgets that hunger. And that's why I tell you, you got to stay hungry even after you eat. You've got to grind as if you've got nothing, even when you've got something, because hunger isn't about survival. It's about growth. I'll never forget this student who told me I'll study when the exam gets closer. That's not hunger. That's procrastination. Hunger doesn't wait for the deadline. Hunger says I'll study today and tomorrow and the next day until this subject can't beat me. Hunger doesn't wait for pressure to arrive. It stays grinding daily. And that's why the hungry student walks into the exam with confidence while the procrastinator walks in with fear. Seneca once said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more. That is poor." Let me flip that for you. Hunger isn't about greed. It's about growth. The poor mindset says, I've done enough. I can stop here. The hungry mindset says, there's always another level. There's always more to learn, more to give, more to achieve. So I'm asking you, where's your hunger? Do you still grind like you're chasing survival? Or have you let comfort put you to sleep? Because if you want to stay ready, you got to stay hungry. You got to grind every single day like your future depends on it, because it does. And the day you stop grinding, the day you stop hungering is the day you start dying. Stay hungry. Stay grinding. That's how you stay ready, so you never have to get ready. Let me tell you something. Life does not reward the one who barely gets by. Life doesn't bless the one who just shows up. No, life rewards the one who shows up over-prepared, the one who's ready for every curveball, every unexpected challenge, every shift in the plan. You don't want to just be prepared. You want to be over-prepared so that no matter what comes, you don't flinch, you adjust, you move, you execute. Too many people live with this mindset of just enough. They do just enough studying to pass. They put in just enough work to get the paycheck. They prepare just enough to look like they belong. But when the storm hits, when the test gets harder, when life throws something extra, they break. Why? Because just enough is never enough. Over-prepared is what carries you when the unexpected comes. I remember when I first started speaking, people would ask me, why do you practice so much? Why do you spend so much time on something you've already mastered? And my answer was simple. Because I never want to get caught off guard. I never want to stand in front of people with nothing left in the tank. I prepare so deeply that even if I forget the script, even if the mic cuts off, even if the power goes out, I can still deliver because I don't depend on conditions. I depend on preparation. The great Roman general Vegetius once said, if you want peace, prepare for war. That's exactly it. You don't wait until the battle is on your doorstep to start sharpening your sword. You don't wait until the opportunity is in front of you to start training. You prepare now. So when the war comes, you've already won it in your mind. Think about it when the student studies not just the assigned chapters, but the whole book, they walk into the exam with power. If the teacher throws a curveball question, they're not shaken because they've seen it somewhere before. But the student who skimmed, who cut corners, who did just enough, that student panics. That's the difference between prepared and over-prepared. It's the difference between confidence and collapse. I used to watch athletes who didn't just run the required laps. They ran extra. They didn't just lift the weight once. They stayed longer in the gym, pushing more. And when the game came, when the pressure was on, those were the athletes who shined, not because they were the most talented, but because they were the most prepared. Here's the truth. Pressure doesn't expose your talent. It exposes your preparation. And when you're over-prepared, pressure doesn't crush you. It fuels you. You look at pressure and say, this is what I trained for. This is why I did the extra reps. This is why I sacrificed sleep. This is why I studied deeper. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, circumstances don't make the man, they only reveal him to himself. And what he meant was simple. When the heat is on, who you really are comes out. If you're underprepared, it'll show. If you're overprepared, it'll show. Life is always going to reveal the truth. So stop aiming for just enough. Stop hoping you can skate by with the minimum. That mindset will fail you when it matters most. Build yourself up so much. Put in so much work that when the unexpected comes, you're already ahead. Be so over-prepared that when opportunity knocks, you don't just answer, you dominate. That's how you stay ready. That's how you make sure you never, ever have to scramble to get ready. So let me break this down. Readiness is not just about you. Readiness is respect. When you stay ready, you're showing respect for the opportunity, respect for the people counting on you, and respect for the gift you've been given. When you walk into a room unprepared, you're telling everybody in there that their time doesn't matter, that the chance they gave you doesn't matter, that what you were called to do doesn't matter, and that's disrespect. I learned early in my journey that preparation wasn't just about me being sharp. It was about honoring the people who showed up to hear me, honoring the platform I was blessed with. If a school flew me out, if a company paid for me to speak, if young people were sitting in those chairs hoping to be inspired, I had a responsibility to be more than ready. Because if I wasn't, it wasn't just me who suffered. They did too. And that's something I couldn't live with. Think about it. When a surgeon walks into the operating room, they don't get ready in the moment. They've studied, they've practiced, they've rehearsed every movement. Why? Because someone's life is on the line. That's respect. When a pilot sits in that cockpit, they don't wait until turbulence hits to start reading the manual. They've gone through checklist after checklist, training after training. Why? Because lives are in their hands. That's respect. When you show up sloppy, when you show up unprepared, what you're saying is, this moment isn't important enough for my best. And people can feel that energy. They may not say it to your face, but they know when you didn't give everything. But on the other hand, when you show up ready, when your work, your presence, your performance speaks louder than your words, you don't have to convince anybody of your value. They see it, they feel it, they respect it. The ancient teacher Confucius said, respect yourself and others will respect you. And the way you respect yourself is by staying ready. Because when you prepare, when you discipline yourself, when you do the hard work in private, you're telling yourself, I matter enough to give my all. My future matters enough to stay sharp. My gift matters enough to be protected. And that self-respect becomes the foundation for how the world sees you. Let me give you a practical example. I remember early on, I used to show up at schools that didn't have the best budgets, didn't have the biggest stages. Some speakers might have said, oh, this is just a small gig. I don't need to give my all here, but not me. I treated every stage like it was the Super Bowl. I stayed ready no matter where I was because those kids deserved my best. That teacher who fought to bring me in deserved my best. And most importantly, my gift deserved my best. That's readiness. That's respect. And here's the crazy part. When you stay ready out of respect, doors start opening that you didn't even knock on. People talk, word spreads, your name travels. Why? Because consistency and preparation create trust, and trust is the ultimate form of respect. So the next time you think about cutting corners, the next time you tell yourself, I'll just wing it. Remember, this ain't just about you. Your readiness is a reflection of who you are, what you stand for, and the respect you carry for your gift, your craft, and the people around you. Stay ready. Not just for you, but out of respect for everything and everyone connected to your purpose. Listen to me. Every single point I gave you today comes down to this. Life is not waiting on you. Opportunities aren't sitting in traffic waiting for you to wake up, get dressed, and decide you're finally ready. They're moving. They're passing. And if you're not prepared, they'll pass you by. You've got to decide right now that you will live every day in readiness. Not sometimes, not when it feels good, not when it's convenient, every single day, because when your name is called, there won't be time to warm up, stretch, or figure it out. You'll either step up ready or you'll watch someone else take what was meant for you. So here's the challenge. Stop waiting to get ready. Start living ready. Build the habits, sharpen the skills, develop the discipline, and walk into every moment with the mindset that you're built for it. Your future deserves that level of respect. Your family deserves it. Your purpose demands it. Don't talk about one day. Make today that day. Stay ready so you'll never have to get ready.